And now in West Africa, we will be looking at Nigeria's currency, the Naira, which last week gained 26.24% against the dollar in the parallel market, despite the decline in the country's external reserves. Now on Friday, the dollar was quoted at 705 Naira on that day at the black market, compared to 890 Naira a week earlier. The Naira appreciated last week after losing 36.52% of its value in 11 months on the black market, from 565 Naira to $1 at the beginning of the year.
The local currency appreciation followed low demand amid an increased supply of dollars in the market, resulting in losses for some speculators. What was responsible for the Naira's gain? The first in years. Financial expert Gbolahan Olojede joins us now to break down the entire development. Good morning, Gbolahan. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning. Nice to be here with you.
Good morning.
We're seeing that the Naira has gained, but first of all, let's talk about what made the Naira lose. The CBN, of course, announced the Naira redesign policy, and we've seen a lot of reactions to that. And the reasons they have given include their attempt to bring in the unbanked money within the local commercial bank vaults. Talk to us first of all about the reasons for the Naira devaluation. Was it just this, or was it something else?
I think it's the same set of factors, in my opinion, that made the Naira to lose value very rapidly over a short period. That same key factor is also part of why it appreciated rapidly over a very short time. And that word is uncertainty. When the CBN announced the Naira redesign, it means that after a short period, after a couple of months, Naira, the current design of certain denominations, could no longer be acceptable again. So that created some element of uncertainty. Markets don't like uncertainty. So the reaction of the market is, I can separate this into three categories. You have the people who actually have stockpiled the Naira. They have personal vault and have stockpiled. So they are concerned about what will happen to this stockpile of the Naira. And this category of people are willing to pay a premium over what the market is asking so that somebody can take off the Naira from them and they can take a position in FX. This is a normal flight to safety. They know that the policy is not going to affect the dollar. So they fly to safety and they offer premium. In the course of offering premium, they are bidding up the price. So the exchange rate was going up. Another category of people are the speculators. Speculators do not necessarily have any stockpile of Naira anyway, but they want to take position and be able to make money in any policy that happens. So when they heard of this policy, what was running in their mind is, how can I take position and be able to milk that policy for making money? So those are speculators. Then you have the saboteurs. The saboteurs are the third category of people, and their own interest is, this policy is not in my favor. What can I do to make them change their mind or to make them tweak the policy in such a way that I will not be affected? So those are the saboteurs. So all these people went into that market and they started to beat things up because of the uncertainty. The same uncertainty was the reason it started to appreciate when it started to appreciate. Several things happened. Number one is the people that are taking the Naira from them and selling FX to them, at some point, they must be asking themselves, okay, this Naira that I'm taking from all these people, how am I going to evacuate it? And once that kind of thought starts to come into that place, into their mind, there is a problem. Number two is that there was this rumor. It was initially attributed to Reuters, but over time it has been disputed as an unfounded story that said that the US is withdrawing certain notes that were printed before 2021 and all of that. That story also, though fake, affected the markets. People who had those dollars were saying, look, doesn't mean I'm going to run into trouble with this stockpile of dollars that I have. Let me take them to the market. That is also part of what we have. So the banks have recorded as the fact that it appears people did make effort to upload some of their Naira positions. Anyway, so it was going up. Uncertainty is at the base of why it went up. Uncertainty is also driving why it is going down. Primarily, there might be other factors. Okay, the US dollar depreciated against major currency faster than it had over some years. Since when has that affected the Naira? Started affecting the Naira? It has never been a major issue that affects the Naira. Even when the Naira against the pound when the dollar against the pound almost went neck on neck, it didn't affect the Naira. So this may not be a major factor.
I mean, there have been a lot of inconsistencies. We also see that the dollar gained again as at last night. And talking about the uncertainty, now, should we expect a change in this? Is this, I mean, of course, it looks temporary because all these factors are what attributes to, the dollar gaining and the Naira gaining. So do we say this is a temporary change?
It's a temporary change. We have not done anything to significantly stabilize the Naira. So what the market is reacting to is basically uncertainty. There are no fundamentals. Nothing fundamentally changed to drive value in either of those directions beyond the uncertainty that pervaded the market. And that is what the market is reacting to.
But you've mentioned something very important.
Any major stability.
You've mentioned something very important now. You said we've done nothing to stabilize the Naira. Are there things that can be done to ensure that the Naira is stable? If yes, could you please share?
Okay. I like to take the mid to long-term approach to the stability of the Naira. And the real thing to do is to produce what the world wants and is willing to pay you FX. So when a country depends 90% for its forex on crude oil, that country will forever be at the mercy of the vagaries of the market. When the market is good for crude oil, you're good. When the market crashes, you crash with it. In fact, things have gotten so bad that even when the market is doing well, we are not able to make money from our own crude, which represents 90% of our foreign exchange earnings. So it is for Nigeria to produce both goods and services, supply to the world, and earn forex. That is what will stabilize the value of the Naira in the medium to long term. Every other thing are temporary measures, shock to absorb from shocks here and there. It will never lead to a stable Naira.
I mean, you've mentioned mid-term, long-term plans. It looks like there's no short-term plan. The deadline has been given for January, when this current Naira would then become a legal tender in January. Now, if we go back to 1984, this happened again with the same president in power. There was a redesigning of the Naira, and what we saw was utter chaos. People sleeping in banks, trying to change their Naira to the new legal tender. There might be projections that we will see that. Do you think that in any way this would affect the Naira negatively? Are we to expect a further plunge of the Naira come January when the deadline officially comes?
Okay. The 1984 was slightly different. There were caps and limits. Caps as to how much you can take to the bank. There was also a much shorter period. I think it was for a whole of 14 days or something like that. That was 1984. It's slightly different now. There are no caps. The CBN is saying you can bring all the Naira you have. Just take it to the bank. We want it, But my biggest fear this time around is the transition for the informal sector. We have a fairly large informal sector, not in terms of the volume, but in terms of the number of people that are involved in that informal sector. The CBN has said, people in the villages, they can take their money, there is the POS people and all the rest. And my questions have remained, one, the POS guy that used to handle 10 transactions in a day, when those transactions become 40 or 50, will there be implications? Or has CBN taken care of that fact by ensuring that through the banks, we have expanded our agency banking platform? Number two, that guy that used to do a total transaction of 100,000 in a day, when the entire village brings the money to, are there implications for that? He has been handling only 100,000. When that becomes 500,000, 600,000, are there safety issues? Are there other issues that we need to consider? Then there is the fact that the POS people, there has been a lot of fraud relating to that business recently. When the volume of activities now increases, will that have an implication for how for fraudulent activities as well in that segment. Then when people come to you, you're taking their Naira, they want to now open account. Have we really upgraded this POS guide so that they will be able to handle account opening related issues? If somebody requests a card, for example, will they be able to handle it? And all of that. Those are just my worries. If those things are not dealt with as they're supposed to, there will be a punishment to the lower rung of the ladder and the informal sector, and transition will be painful for them. It might even lead to certain contraction of economic activities during the Eulate.
All right, thank you so much. I mean, like you have said, the only way to tackle the fluctuating value of the currency is to look at it from the root cause. We really appreciate your time. Financial expert Gbolahan Olojede, thank you so much.
The pleasure is mine.